Radio 2 on 1500 meters and VHF with Radio 1 on 247 meters. And now it's Radio 2's Monday Evening Personality Spot, 45 minutes of music with Al Jolson, and then Edmundo Ross inviting you to be my guest.
The bells are ringing for me and my gal. The birds are singing for me and my gal. Everybody's been knowing to a wedding they're going, and for weeks they've been sewing every Susie and Sam.
The Jolson Touch, the story of the man who was first in everything he touched. The story of Al Jolson is told by Michael Friedland, with the voice of Al Jolson himself, and many stars who knew him and who were influenced by this king of Broadway.
In love land, for me and my gal.
The unmistakable voice of Al Jolson. When that voice was last heard live, Beatles were just insects, Rolling Stones simply gathered no moss, and the pelvis was, well, strictly for the anatomy books. But today, 19 years later, that voice still means show business. The man dubbed in his lifetime the world's greatest entertainer still has an amazing influence. Even now, Jolson records are being reissued, and Columbia Pictures have dusted up the 23-year-old Jolson story in a 70mm widescreen facelift that could point many a lesson to today's filmmakers. After all, it has set the tone for movie biographies ever since, telling the story of the man who was the trailblazer of 20th century entertainment, the man with a voice that did more than just entertain. It was a voice with a magic that seemed to leave people spellbound.
Watch them shuffling along. See them shuffling along. Go take your best gal, your real pal. Go down to the levee. I said the levee. Join that shuffling throng. Yeah, that music and song. It's simply great, mate. Waiting on the levee. Waiting for the robber to leave. Watch them shuffling along. Each two, each two, each two. See them shuffling along. Go take your best gal, your real pal. Go down to the levee. I said the levee. Join that shuffling throng. Yeah, that music and song. It's simply great, mate. Waiting on the levee. Waiting for the robber to leave.
No wide stretch of the imagination needed to point to the startling success of the black and white minstrels and spot there the inspiration of Al Jolson, the best-known minstrel of them all. But the net cast by the Jolson Touch has been so very much wider than that.
The inspiration of Jolson, when I was at college at Leeds, I was singing in students' rag reviews and around the different sort of clubs in Leeds, just for fun. I was singing for fun. The inspiration of Jolson was there right at the beginning, and it's been with me ever since. When I think of the greatest performers in this profession, I think of people like Jolson, Sophie Tucker, and Judy Garland, and Frank Sinatra. But with Jolson it was something very, very special, because this man, for me, had the true identity of a performer in every sense of the word. And I felt when I started in this profession that if I had any ambition at all, it would be to be a performer, an entertainer in the fullest possible way. And I believe he was.
Britain's Frankie Vaughan talking about Jolson the idol. Jolson the man who I personally blamed back in my school days for more than a few neglected homework papers. After all, when there were new records by Jolson to play, how could algebra stand a chance? Frankie Vaughan turned that same sort of idolatry to good use. moulding his own vibrant style on that of Jolson.
I was walking along, minding my business, when out of the orange-colored sky, flash, bam, alakazam, wonderful you came by. I was humming a tune, drinking in sunshine, when out of that orange-colored view, flash, bam, alakazam, I gotta look at you. One look and I yelled, timber, watch out for flying glass. 'Cause the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out. I went into a spin and I started to shout, I mean, this is it, this is it. I was walking along, minding my business, when love came and hit me in the eye. Flash, bam, alakazam, out of an orange-colored purple stripe, reddy green polka-dotted sky. Flash, bam, alakazam, and goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Frankie Vaughan. Singers as poles apart as Eddie Fisher and Tom Jones have said just about the same sort of thing about Jolson, the man around whom they spun their dreams. And is it really all that surprising? For Jolson was the first of the really big pop singers, certainly the first to count his record sales in millions. He first appeared in Broadway in 1912. A year later he made this recording, one of the first of hundreds in a disc career that was to last almost 40 years. It was called The Spaniard That Blighted My Life.
Listen to me while I tell you of the Spaniard that blighted me life. Listen to me while I tell you of the man who stole my future wife. Well, that's the full fight where we met him, and during his daring display, and while I went out for some peanuts in a program, the dirty dog stole her away. Oh yes, oh yes. So tonight I will have my revenge. If I catch Antonia, that's all you adore. With one mighty swipe I will dislocate his bloody jaw. I'll catch the old blighter, I will, and when I catch him, the blighter I'll kill. He shall die, he shall die, he shall die till I die, he shall jolly well die, he shall die, he shall die. Oh, he shall die, oh, he shall die. We shall die, die, dee-a-dee-da-da, dee-a-dee-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Ain't I the darn fool? If I catch him bending tonight.
Jolson in 1913. Just think, almost every show business development of the last 60 years can be traced back to this man. The list of his firsts would seem just like another catalogue entry from Who's Who if one didn't realize the effects they were to have on the world of the theatre. Try them for size. The first big Broadway star to count his weekly salary checks in thousands of dollars, and that was before World War I. The first big performer to work 7 days a week. The first to take his shows on the road from the Atlantic to the Pacific. And after being the world's first singing film star, he made that very first talkie, The Jazz Singer, 42 years ago. The first to have a regular radio program. And, wait for it, he took part in the early 30s in what is believed to have been America's first pilot TV show. Nor is that all. In 1950, the year he died, after being the first star to entertain the troops in Korea, travelling at his own expense, the name Al Jolson appeared in Britain on the very first LP record lists. Just how could one man do all that? I don't believe Jolson ever deliberately wanted to set records or break them. He either did a thing with every ounce of energy he possessed, or he never did it at all. He knew no other way. If in doing so he walked uncharted ground, well, so be it. He occasionally upset people on the way. None more than his own father, cantor of the synagogue in Washington, D.C., where the voice of A.C. Jolson was first heard singing in the choir.
Yes, alright. Worship away.
He ran away from home and changed his name to Al Jolson. Some 50 years later, he told radio audiences how he got his first singing job.
I was nothing. Just a poor little kid on the streets of Washington, D.C. Shining shoes, selling papers, or anything. I can remember the first job I ever got singing. I was passing the stage door of a theater on 29th Street in New York City. The great Faith Templeton was rehearsing a new song. I stood there and listened, until I was singing along with her. Finally, I remembered I was hungry. You get awful hungry when you're 11 years old. So I started walking down towards the Bowery, and I kept hearing the piano player playing that tune, and I kept getting hungrier too. I didn't have any money, so I went to a joint named McGurk's or something like that, and I asked the guy if he'd give me a cup of coffee if I'd sing a song. He said, okay. And the song was, Rosie, you are my posy. You are my heart so gay. Come out in the silvery moonlight. There's something sweet to love. I wanna say, Johnny, your little boy, I'm waiting. Those ruby lips to breathe. Don't be so captivating. My blushing rosy, my posy sweet.
The voice of Jolson. Like Caruso, his first name is almost superfluous. That voice was on the way, singing songs that immediately became identified with him.
Though April showers may come your way, just for you, just for you. They bring the flowers that bloom in May. So if it's raining, have no regrets, because it is raining, rain, you know, it's raining violets. And where you see clouds upon the hills, you soon will see crowds of daffodils. So keep on looking for a bluebird and listening for its song whenever April showers come along. And when you see clouds on the hills, look up, they're not clouds, no, they're crowds of daffodils. So keep on looking for a bluebird and listening for its song. Whenever April showers come along.
But singers are not alone in pointing to Jolson as their main inspiration. Larry Adler, the man who made the mouth organ respectable.
There can't be another Jolson any more than there can be another Chevalier. There are certain people who are unique, and you can't replace them. Jolson had probably the most seminal influence of anybody in show business, and he inspired people in many different ways. I mean, I play the mouth organ, but somehow in my mouth organ playing there is some influence of Jolson. And this must happen to comedians, to straight actors, to all sorts of people. The absolute professional dedication. See, Jolson was a professional every single minute, and nothing was allowed to coast. And also a great many stars would tour with inferior companies. They were the star and they knew they could carry it. Jolson could have carried anything, but he always made sure he had the best. And if it weren't for Al Jolson, I not only wouldn't be here this evening, I don't think I'd be in show business.
Why was that?
Well, my father took me to see Jolson in a show called Sinbad when I was 5 years old. And I have one absolutely clear and stark memory. The show ended with a shipwreck, and they had a marvelous production of a ship spinning around, and I was terribly afraid that Jolson was drowned in the shipwreck. And afterwards, he stuck his head out through the curtain and he says, "I'm all right," and I was enormously relieved. I didn't want anything to happen to Jolson. And I asked my father to take me backstage to meet him, but he didn't know Jolson, he couldn't do that. But on the very block where we lived, there was a man named Harry Jolson, and he was a cousin. And Harry Jolson made for me a costume exactly approximating the one Jolson wore in Sinbad. And I told this to Jolson many years later, 1933, when I worked at Grauman's Chinese. And Jolson said that he would like to make a tour and have me in the company. And I think I would not only have done it free, I think I would have paid for the privilege. Because Jolson was Jolson. There was a magic that he had that no other performer, literally no other performer, ever had. And I think he had that effect on everyone who ever saw him. He did something that I defy any other performer to do. He toured American Wonderbar. Now, Wonderbar was a book show with a plot. At the end of the first act, I saw it in Cleveland, he came out in front of the tabs and said, "Look, what do you say I send the rest of the cast home and I just sit here and sing to you?" And everyone cheered, and that is exactly what happened.
What was there that could make a man do that? It sounds like an overpowering conceit.
You're conceited if you think you're better than you are. He didn't think he was better than he was. He knew he was the greatest. And that was an absolutely assured knowledge.
We're riding along on the crest of the wave and the sun is in the sky. All our eyes on the distant horizon, look out on the sky. We'll do hailing when all the ships are under sailing. We're riding along on the crest of the wave and the world is ours. All hands.
The theme song of the longest running show of all time, the Boy Scout Gang Show. Now wait a minute, can there possibly be a Jolson influence here? There can and there is. For Ralph Reeder, the gang show man, had his big break playing with Jolson on Broadway.
I make no bones about it. I worship the guy.
I don't find it at all difficult to imagine anyone worshipping Jolson. His magic came over to me second-hand through his recorded voice. But how much more was there to him? He was short, he was paunchy, never the traditional idea of a matinee idol.
All right, what about Sammy Davis? Sammy Davis is, I think, a genius. Jolson is that in capital letters. You couldn't mistake the great performer that he was. The only thing I'm sorry about is that people always regard him purely and simply as a singer. He was a tremendous comedian.
You've been making so many guest appearances, Al. Tell me, why don't you get your own radio show? Well, I can be... Where? Bob, ask me that again. All right. Ask me that again. Don't do that. We'll have Shelton up here with us. Wait a minute. Al, look, you've been making so many guest appearances. Tell me, why don't you get your own radio show? What? And be only... Wait a minute, will you? Ask me that again. Why don't you get your own radio show? What? And be only here only once a week? That's it. Hurry up, Bob. We'll be on an hour. Not on this network. You're not kidding, Al. You know, you've been on so many radio programs. I heard the other day a housewife went into her grocery store and asked for a box of Jolsons. Oh, they're good with mustard. But listen, Bob, just how many guest appearances have you made on the radio? 15, counting tonight? No, I don't count benefits.
Al Jolson sparring with Bob Hope, a man who surely ranks with him as one of the greats of showbiz. He teamed up with Jack Benny too, another entertainer's entertainer.
It's nice being with you, Jack.
But gee, Al, you've been making so many guest star appearances. I can't understand why you work so hard.
Well, Jack, weren't you ambitious when you were my age?
Your age?
Yeah.
How old are you?
38.
Gee, we all seem to get stuck there.
What do you want?
You made me love you.
I always did.
You did? Well, let's
Hit it, boys. Hit it. Take it. You made me love you. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. You made me want to. And all the time you knew it. I guess you always knew it. You made me happy sometimes. Oh, you made me glad. But there were times, baby. You dog. You made me cry for. I didn't want to tell you. I didn't. Now what? Oh, I do. Indeed I do. Yes, I do. Give me what I cry for. You know you got the kind of kisses that I die for. You know you made me love you.
And Jolson was never on better form than when he got together with Bing Crosby.
Bing, let me tell you something, son. I'm really so thrilled tonight. Do you know that 18 members of the original Al Jolson fan club, 18 of the original Al Jolson fan club, are listening in tonight at Morristown, New Jersey? The original fan club is listening in over in Morristown, huh? Why don't you have them come out here and see the broadcast? Why don't you have them come over here and see the broadcast? Bing, the trip would kill them.
Well, now, tell us about New York in the good old days. That's what I want to hear.
Well, sir, when I first came here, you know, in New York many years ago, I used to sing in saloons. I used to sing my heart out in those places and go home in the evening with 2 nickels and a dime.
Well, tax-free, that's not bad.
And then came a big break. I was singing one night when in walked in that fabulous free-spending Diamond Jim Brady. Things I was beside myself. I gave Diamond Jim the full treatment. Yeah, you know. Started right off. I gave him bicycle bills for 2. The good old summertime. I think it's that middle age. And I married Oldsmobile and I finished up with Mommy.
Mommy, you mean Mammy?
No, that was before my mother headed for Dixie. Anyhow, when I finished singing, Bingsy, there was terrific applause. And Diamond Jim called me to his table.
You were about to be rewarded, eh?
Yes, sir. Bing, you remember reading about it and seeing about it in pictures? That 16-carat diamond stick thing they always wore in his tie?
Al, don't tell me.
Yes, Bing. He stuck me with it.
Well, tax-free, that ain't bad. What do you say we have the ushers kind of lock the doors? We sing 400 or 500 songs at the folks, huh? What do you say?
Okay, Bing, play it loud with you.
Yeah.
Joel's fan club is listening in Morristown. That's your line.
In Morristown, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You can have that kind of a line.
Found my love when I belong beside the bay. I left my love in Avalon, and I said, far, far away, I dream of her and Avalon.
Crosby, Cantor, and one performer who has constantly been compared with Jolson. Could there be any better combination than Al Jolson and Judy Garland? Jolson once even joined the Mills Brothers.
Down among the sheltering palms, oh honey, wait for me, wait for me. Don't be forgetting we got a day out where the sun goes down a body. How my love is burning, burning, burning. How my heart is yearning, yearning, yearning to be down among the sheltering palms. Oh, honey, wait for me. Down among the sheltering palms. Oh, honey, wait for me. Wait for all of you? Wait for me. Don't be forgetting we've got a day. What time? Down among the sheltering palms, oh honey, wait for me, wait for me. Don't be forgetting we got a day out where the sun goes down a body. How my love is burning, burning, burning. How my heart is yearning, yearning, yearning to be down among the sheltering palms. Oh, honey, wait for me. Down among the sheltering palms. Oh, honey, wait for me. Wait for all of you? Wait for me. Don't be forgetting we've got a day. What time? Out where the sun goes down about it. You're cold around that time. How my love is burning, burning, burning. How my heart is yearning, yearning, yearning to be down among the sheltering palms. Oh, honey, wait for me. Down among those sheltering.
Whenever people talk about Jolson, there is one phrase that continually crops up.
Electricity. He was electric, he was vital, he was everything that show business stands for.
Well, you actually played in the show with him. What was he like to work with?
Oh, he was tremendous. He just made everybody work twice as hard as they normally would do with any other star, because you just had to rise up to where he set the pace.
If Al Jolson ever had a peer in my earliest days, it could only have been Ben Lyon. I remember listening to High Gang with the same avidity I later reserved for queuing for the Jolson story, and that was sometimes miles out of town. I asked Ben Lyon about Jolson's impact in the days of his Broadway triumphs.
Whenever anyone comes up to me, introduced, the first thing they say is, you know, Mr. Lyon, it's so nice meeting you because my mother always took me to see your pictures. Well, today, speaking about Al Jolson, at last I can say it's someone that my mother took me to see. Well, Al Jolson, it's needless to tell you that he was really one of the real greats of show business. I remember seeing him back in New York when I was a kid trying to get a day's work here and there in films. I used to walk Broadway back and forth, making rounds of the agents in the morning and then again in the afternoon with $1 a day that my mother gave me as an allowance. And if I was lucky enough to save up about 50 cents out of this $1 a day, I was able to go to a matinee at the Winter Garden where Al Jolson starred year after year in New York and was the great American favorite. Jolson star in these musicals, and always in the second half, he would do about an hour single spot. And really today we have men like Danny Kaye and Sammy Davis Jr. who can come out and entertain for an hour or two. And they, I'm not taking away anything from them, they are really great artists, but honestly, they don't compare with Al Jolson. They just couldn't. He was the all-time great of show business.
What was the impact that he made on his fellow performers? Because so many people now say they were tremendously influenced by Jolson.
Well, I can only say that even I, as a youngster in those days, would watch him along with, many, many professionals who used to stand performance after performance and watch his style, his presentation, his personality, and just hope that one day we could, I wouldn't say mimic him, but have some of his qualities, as we knew if we could just pinch a little bit of his ability and his quality, that we might be successful too.
Is it true what they say about Dixie? Does the sun really shine all the time? Do the sweet magnolias blossom at everybody's door? And do the folks keep eating possum? There ain't candy no more. Is it true what they say about Swanee? Is a dream by that stream so sublime? Do they laugh? Do they love like they do in every song? If it's true, that's where I belong.
When Jolson came to the film capital to make The Jazz Singer, the king of Broadway was acclaimed the king of Hollywood. The picture pushed silent films onto the bonfire and at the same time sent careers crashing down. Bessie Love was one of the Hollywood beauties of those days who managed to survive well into the talkie era. Could anyone but Jolson make the talkies succeed as they did?
He was the man for the job, I think. You know, they always say there's always the right person at the right time, and I think probably he was the one, because he did have a tremendous personality on the stage. Oh, he was like a cyclone.
But even a cyclone called Jolson had his limitations. He made about 11 films himself, and in none of them did he really show the drive and the magnetism he had established on Broadway. Ben Lyon has a theory why.
Jolson couldn't be confined to the range of a camera. Jolson had to have the vast space of the theater. He liked to work from proscenium arch to proscenium arch. He would romp all over the stage, run out on the runway, we call it runway, I don't know what you call it here, and sit down with his legs hanging over the side and give a very intimate performance. You never knew what he was going to do, and I don't think he ever repeated his performance twice.
Somebody else. It's tough to be alone on the shelf. It's worse to fall in love by yourself. The one I love belongs to somebody else.
The same song by the same singer, 25 years apart. Jolson's secret, to my mind, was not that he changed his songs so much as the way he sang them. He not only had to be with the times, he had to be ahead of them. In the course of his career, his voice was to change down some 4 keys. But I don't think the magic ever really left this voice, a voice that was always being courted by the songwriters. Larry Adler and Jolson had one thing in common. They were both close friends of George Gershwin.
He inspired a great many songwriters. He inspired George Gershwin. George's first hit was Swanee, and it was written for Al Jolson. Jolson asking him to write a song for him was one of the things that he had always hoped would happen. And when he had a chance to do it, he thought that was a tremendous break. And in fact, it was a tremendous break. Swanee was one of the very best sellers Gershwin ever had of his entire repertoire. And that was his first song. The one thing Jolson and Gershwin had in common, they were both megalomaniacs. Again, this is not conceit. Their world revolved around them, and anything else was on the perimeter of it.
I've been away from you a long time. I never thought I'd miss you more. Somehow I feel your love is real. Near you, I want to be. The birds are singing in its song time. And when I'm playing something low, I know that you yearn for me too. Swanee, you're calling me. Swanee, how I love you, my dear old Swanee. I give the world to be among the folks here. Yes, I even know your mammies, waiting for you, praying for you down by the Swanee. The folks up more won't see me no more when I get to that Swanee song. Swanee, Swanee.
Al Jolson, remembering his friend, at a memorial concert to George Gershwin at the famous Hollywood Bowl. Soon after that, America was at war, and Al Jolson, first again, was in the front line entertaining the troops. Mayor James Walker of New York paid tribute to him at a dinner at Manhattan's Hotel Astor, attended by more than 1,000 war veterans.
We are saluting a great showman, and New York City loves a good showman. A man whose very name means Broadway, packed houses, laughter, and song. He's always believed in bringing his shows to every part of our country so he could meet Mr. America in person. The hearts of the American Veterans Committee and the microphone are all yours. Al Jolson. Thank you, Jimmy. Members of the American Veterans Committee and all my friends present tonight. In the last 30 years, I've had a lot of big nights in my life, but believe me, none of them as big as this one. It's only today that I'm really playing what you call the big time. Let me tell you, of all the wonderful audiences I've played to in my whole life, the ones that have given me the greatest thrill were 1,000 miles away from Broadway, on the battle-swept deserts of Africa, in the hell and mud of Italy, and in the jungles of the South Pacific.
His flag-waving patriotism certainly wouldn't inspire the Dubs of 1969. But Jolson always felt he owed a debt to America's fighting men, and to the British troops who crowded to hear him too. They provided him with an audience when everyone else seemed to have forgotten his name. When the Jolson story was made in 1946, he was just about a complete has-been. Larry Parks, an almost totally unknown actor, played him on the screen, much to Jolson's own resentment. He wanted to play the part himself but couldn't understand how anybody could portray someone as unique as he was. But Parks did, and got an Oscar nomination for it. And Jolson, who re-recorded his own song specially for the film, was at the age of 60, again on top of the world, to coin the Jolson phrase. Co-star of that picture, playing Jolson's wife, was Evelyn Keyes. Was he as difficult with her as he was with Parks?
Quite the contrary, he was charming, and he was a vibrant man, extraordinary energy, just absolutely bursting with it. I've never seen him any other way but that. And, you know, trying to amuse you. You know, trying to be pleasing, trying to, I mean, he would sing for his supper. Mainly, it was the energy he had. It was absolutely extraordinary. I think it comes through in the voice, even in the soundtrack. I think that's one of the secrets of the success of this movie. He wanted to be on. Always. That's when he was happy. When he was on. And even if it was a conversation, you know, sitting here in a room somewhere, he was on. He didn't know any other way of going about it.
I'm rolling with my girlie, well, serious early in the morning.
each little buttercup that dawn is. If I had led lamb only a day, I'd make a wish, and here's what I'd say. Nothing could be finer than the field of Carolina in a morning.
The sound of teenagers squealing. A new response to a show business legend who thought he had heard it all. People like me had found Jolson, although I swear I never actually screamed. 3 years later, the man who always was first became the first entertainer to have a sequel made of his life story. They called it Jolson Sings Again, as though he ever stopped. The new generation of Jolson worshippers put his record sales above those of Bing Crosby, Perry Como, and a young upstart named Frank Sinatra. A few months before he died, Jolson recorded a song called Are You Lonesome Tonight? Years later, Elvis Presley did too. His version was almost a carbon copy. Hear Jolson first, and then Presley.
I wonder if you're lonesome tonight. You know, someone said the world's a stage, and each must play a part. Fate had me play a lover with you as my sweetheart. Act 1 was where we met. I loved you at first glance. You read your lines so cleverly and never missed a cue. Then came Act 2, and you seemed to change. You acted strange. Why, I've never known. Then came the day you went away and left me all alone.
Honey, you lied when you said you loved me, and I had no cause to doubt you. But I'd rather go on hearing your lies than to go on living without you. Now the stage is bare, and I'm standing there with emptiness all around. And if he won't come back to me, then they can bring the curtain down. Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight?
So even Elvis the Pelvis, king of rock, pop idol of the 1950s and 60s, owes something to Al Jolson. Phenomenal? Perhaps. But Jolson was always that. And I think we all owe something to that electric, that dynamic, that king of Broadway, the man who gave show business the indelible Jolson touch.
That was the Jolson Touch, the story of the man himself and his influence on the people who knew him and the stars who followed him.
And swinging from Virginia to Tennessee with all the soul that's in you.
As well as the voice of Al Jolson, you also heard the voices of Larry Adler, Jack Benny, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Evelyn Keyes, Bessie Love, Ben Lyon, Ralph Reeder, Mayor James Walker of New York, and Frankie Vaughan. There was music from the soundtrack of The Jolson Story and extracts from archives tapes of the Al Jolson Society by courtesy of Leslie Kay. The Jolson Touch was written and introduced by Michael Friedland, and the program was produced by John Browell.
Rockabye, your rockabye baby, with a Dixie now.